o'clock, and I'd like to call the October 19th, 2022 meeting of the DRC to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, roll call, please.
Chair Lacon,
Present.
Vice Chair McKay,
Present.
Committee Member Chang,
Present.
Committee Member Rick Chow,
Present.
Alternate Committee Member Tony Chow,
Present.
and Alternate Committee Member Torgerson.
Present.
Okay, and Committee Member Baanij is absent today.
Thank you. The agenda is posted 72 hours prior to the meeting at the following locations: San Marino City Hall, San Marino Public Library, San Marino Recreation Department, San Marino City website. Each committee member has received plans and has reviewed every item on the agenda and visited each site. The general order for hearing each case will be as follows. The committee will ask staff any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public, and the chair will ask for comments for, against, or about the project. In all cases, please come forward and give your name and address. At the conclusion of the public comments, the applicant will have the chance to respond, and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask for comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DRC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped that the applicant will have heard comments during the public comment period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is important for the property owner to understand that once a project is approved by the DRC, the drawings become lawful documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval for those changes, then the property owner is in fact breaking the law. There is a risk of having to change the project back to the originally approved design or paying a fine to the city of San Marino equal to the greater of 5% of the project valuation or $2,500, and then resubmitting the changes back to the project, made to the project back to the DRC. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after action has been taken for the applicant or an interested party to request the Planning Commission to review the act and act on the case. Let's begin with agenda item number 1. Design review case number 21-25 and design review case 21-73, 1408 Wilson Avenue. Ms. Martinez, staff report, please.
Yes, so for item number 1, this project was last presented before the DRC on September 7th of this year. The 4 items that the design review committee requested the applicant review was concerns about the proposed garage size of the 3-car garage. The applicant has since reduced the size to only add 74 square feet worth of storage to the garage, which therefore does not need a design review action and can be reviewed administratively. The second item was to remove the proposed awning design above the main entrance, which the applicant has done and basically has proposed the new main entrance without it with the door molding. The third item was to eliminate one or both windows next to the chimney, and the applicant has decided to keep both of those windows. The fourth item is to change the window type and style of the front windows to simulate an elongated design. The applicant has changed from double hung windows to casement windows to provide that type of elongated design. An item to note is that the proposed patio attached to the rear of the home is not considered part of the livable square footage. If it's referenced somewhere else in the staff report, it's not. It's just counts towards lot coverage, but not livable area. And lastly, we've received a letter of objection from the neighbor, which we have provided or emailed and forwarded to the design review committee. And although staff has received the letter, we have not had any communications with the neighbor. And I don't know if they're present or virtually present, which they might be. That concludes my staff report. Should you have any questions? I know the applicant is here, should you have any as well.
Great. Thank you very much. And I wanted to note that for this case, we will have alternate member Tony Chow as a voting member. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for staff? Seeing no questions, would the applicant like to present the project?
I'm Steve Gui. I am the owner of the house. Yes, I think Camila kind of summarized everything, but I'd just like to go over it again. There was like the concerns about the 3-car garage. We eliminated the 3rd car garage, so now it's a 2-car garage, and added a little bit of storage space, 24 square feet. There was a comment about the eyebrow awning design at the front door. I made it a little simpler and more elegant. Removed and put a new wood trim around the door. I actually lowered the door from 96 inches to 87, I believe, or 84, just to make it more proportional to the house. I like to keep both windows because I'm trying to, in the inside of the house, I'm trying to put 2 windows besides the chimney, so it looks brings more light to the room. And I'm trying to find a picture of that.
Dr. Gui, I have the photos you forwarded to me.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, did you want me to bring those up?
I have one more that I think. Which one did you bring? Which one did you have?
The items that you asked to be shown as a presentation were for the wood shakes on the
Oh,
exterior?
yeah, I have that.
Okay.
I have that here. Yeah, if somebody wants to take a look, I'll pass this around, but that's a little bit later. Is there a hookup for the screen or no?
No, unfortunately, I would have to present it.
I can send it to you.
Okay, it might take a few minutes. If not, we can continue without it.
Okay. But I'll explain about the windows in a bit once Camila gets the in And then the windows, we did change the windows, and you asked me about the Pella windows. The reason why I picked Pella is they have good energy ratings and they have good E-values. They have good install support. I've been using Pellas in about 3 or 4 projects, and the rep from the store usually comes out and helps me with the sizing and installation. And they have good owner support, aftercare owner support. If they have a problem with the windows leaking or breaking its seal, they would come out and replace the windows. And so, and they're on the approved list. I didn't pick any windows that are kind of strange. They're just basically the approved list that's in San Marino City Planning Department. In regards to the letter with Mr. Lee, which is the one that was complaining about my garage, well, that complaint is mute because now I don't have a 3-car garage, so it's a 2-car garage. And so, and then he was complaining about the covered patio. We actually have a 6-foot fence between our houses, so you really can't see my patio. I don't know what he wants me else to do. There's a driveway between the patio and his house, and a good 15 to 20 feet from the patio to his building. So it's pretty far away. Let's see. Did you get that email about the windows?
I didn't, but we have a security system that makes emails rather slow, so I would just continue. Yeah.
But yes, I'm trying to put I like to conserve the 2 windows on each side of the chimney because there's a bookcase next to the chimney, and the windows are like accents for the bookcase that is besides the chimney. I think what made it look funny is maybe the shutters that are next to the window. If you look on the side of the house, the shutter butts against that one window. An alternative would be to remove the shutters on the side of that house, and that might make it look less weird with the shutters against that one window. Do you have any questions for me? I tried to address everything that you wanted to do in the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone in the committee have any questions for the applicant? No question? Vice Chair McKay.
Thank you. Have you tried to work with your neighbor since the last time you were before us? Have you reached out? to your
Just that one neighbor. I did contact him personally once about the fence when we were building the fence, and it was a very unpleasant experience, so I really did not want to go back and confront him again. I did everything with mail, so it'd be all written. And he has my email and my cell number if he needs to contact me. But that neighbor just is complaining about the garage and the patio. So the garage is done. I mean, we eliminated the 3-car garage. So, you know, I don't see any reason why he would be still complaining.
Is that right? I thought that every time he was incorporating all of his concerns.
He
I
was
don't know that
complaining
it's just
about
that.
the garage and the patio. And his building actually juts out farther than my building. I mean, it's a massive house. I'm kind of my house is the smallest one out of the 2 houses on either side, even with the additions. I mean, the other 2 houses are just big mansion-like houses.
Okay, I think, do you have any, I have a question
Do
regarding
you have a
that.
question?
The extension on the rear for the patio, according to your neighbor, it was too close to his property or too far back. And I think the difference between the home next door is that house, the way it's situated, is their garage is in the front of the house. So their backyard is, the house sits back further, so his living portion of the home sits closer to between your house and your garage. And that's where they spend all their time. And then they have their backyard open.
But now I have a 6.
You have a separate garage that's in the back.
Right.
So his massing, a lot of it is in the front because his living space is in the back of the house. So it seems, I can see where he's trying to, right now you're kind of puzzled in there where he has space here and your living space is in the front of it. So now you're projecting back and probably feels somewhat intrusive.
Well, there's a driveway, there's 15 to 20 feet of driveway between our houses, and there's a 6-foot fence. So he can't really see unless he climbs over the fence and look.
And the fence that was installed, I recall the first time you came through, the fence wasn't there. So the fence has been installed and it is on your property?
Yes, he didn't want the fence, and so I said, you know what, the only way I can prevent you from seeing my property is to build a fence. And I said, you want me to take out, and I did that in all on my expense. You want me to take out the old fence which was falling down and rotted? And so he said no. I said, okay, fine. And then I'll just build my fence on my side, 2 inches away from the property line, which is standard for San Marino.
Okay, and so the fence that sits to the east is on the neighbor's property line?
None of the
On the neighbor's property?
None of the fences are on the neighbor's property or on the property line. They're all on my property.
So those are your fences, and
Yes.
you chose not to take the one down?
He chose not to take
But
the
it's
one.
yours, you just said.
No, that was on the property line.
Wait.
Okay, so the
So
old
now
fence,
we have a double fence now,
yes,
correct?
because he didn't want me to take out the old fence.
And whose old fence is that?
Well,
It's
it's
yours.
shared, it's right on the property line. So the previous owners of his house and my house decided to put that fence up on the property line.
And with an agreement?
I don't know, I don't know.
Sometimes there's agreements in the
But that was for previous owners, so I don't know.
Okay, so now that one is on the property line.
The old one is
Right.
still there because he did not want me to take that down. So it's still decrepit, broken down and rusty on
Okay.
on the property
So
line.
how
If
do
you look
you-
from his
But
house.
how do you take out, I saw like a lot of dead branches and growth in between the two fences, so how's that ever gonna be cleaned up?
He didn't want me to clean it up.
Okay.
I asked him.
Okay,
I said, I'll clean this up on my expense, because I had the bid there, everything there. I said, you know what? My guys can clean up that fence for you. You want me to take that out? It looks very bad. And they said, nope. I
okay.
said, fine.
Okay,
So I just built a nice new fence out of nice green material and professionally done, all with permits. And so I just, if you want me to
Okay.
leave, if you want me to
No,
look.
that's okay, we'll move on. Does anyone have a question for our applicant? Go ahead, committee member Rick Chow.
Thank you. Chair, if I may, because I would like to follow up on Vice Chair's question regarding the neighbor's letter. I don't have a copy here, so could staff,
Can I pass the letter?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
If that's what I forwarded, yeah.
I basically like to know if the neighbor had kind of updated his comment incorporating the reduced size garage.
From my understanding, no. So this project has a lot of history. It was presented in 2020, it got denied, and now it has a 2021 case number associated to it because they resubmitted as a new project. From my understanding is that that same letter has been duplicated and not changed since 2020. And he just has resubmitted the same letter multiple times. So no, it has not changed with the new changes to the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, anyone else have any questions? Committee member Tony Chow.
Just want to clarify, the first floor addition we're looking at right now, is it 90 plus 189, or is, I guess what's the total on the first floor? I'm looking at two different numbers, I just want to make sure.
Yes, so 90 is for the front first floor addition. The 189 is for the first floor addition to the rear, and then to the side of the property, there's a 7 square foot addition next to the chimney.
Is that matching with the project description? 287, one-story addition?
Right.
I just want to make sure that, like, either the plans or it's the description.
Ms. Martinez is checking.
Yes, so adding the first floor front and the first floor rear and the side is the same number.
Okay, got it. I see. Okay, thank you.
Yes, and did somebody wanted the materials for the thing? And I have the pictures here. I don't know.
Yes, I reached out to you to see if you can provide additional information for the wood
I just have
shapes.
the pictures. I don't have the. I didn't have time to get the samples, but it's just straightforward siding, redwood siding.
You don't have a color reference for it for the mist gray?
I have an older version if you'd like to see that.
Yes, please. Is it,
So there is no materials board, is that correct?
No, I think somebody wanted the siding material.
A materials board is the most helpful.
This is an older copy, so the elevation has changed, but they have the color samples.
The picture of the house is the inspiration for this design.
So could you tell me about the cedar wood you're gonna put on the side of the house?
Yes, well, it's just standard cedar wood planks, various sizes. I don't know, but
How will it be treated and painted
It's good.
on site
it's going to be painted, yes.
after it's been applied?
Yes, yes.
Does anyone else have any questions? I don't think we have any questions. Can you just tell me about the oak trees that are between your two properties? I noticed in that tree report, they said that they gave you a plan to help preserve the trees, but any kind of digging or grading or,
I'm just going to follow what that plan says. I mean, we're not getting, the foundation is there already next to the house for those oak trees.
okay,
And-
so for your patio,
and
that's
we're
already
gonna-
there, you're not gonna take
The
up the
patio-
patio?
The patio is on the opposite side of the oak trees.
No, the new the old patio that's existing currently, you're
Yeah,
going
it's
to
there,
fill
it's
that
already
in.
a patio, yeah.
So that will just, you won't
Then-
take off the
no.
concrete, you won't start over?
No.
You're gonna use that
Yes,
existing
that's correct.
for the new home, the new space, okay.
I don't see a need to take that off because I think that's a solid foundation already.
Okay.
Just one quick question.
Yes,
Okay.
Committee Member Chang.
Thank you. You plan on hiring a general contractor to do?
Yeah,
work
of
for you?
course.
And any projection of the time of the construction period?
Usually takes about a year for me.
Okay.
I mean, just, I'm how long it usually takes for my projects.
Just to make sure you know, with the neighbors having some concern, I just want to make sure you pass on this message to your general contractor to be more cognizant about
Yeah, well,
the do work, the noise, the dust, and all of that.
Yes, the exterior work will probably go pretty fast. Most of the slow stuff, the exterior work usually gets done in 3 months. And the interior work is what usually takes long. Tile, kitchen, cabinets, you know, everything, hardwood floors, that always goes a little bit slower. But usually the exterior works, the framing and stuff is done pretty quickly.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there, I see that you changed the windows, but is there a reason that you chose, I mean, maybe the orientation of the windows, but is there a possibility of going back to the double hung window, which would be more appropriate, just a different orientation of the light
lights,
shape?
The
Yes.
lights, yeah, we can go for the double hung. Usually the casement windows have a higher E rating and energy savings than the double hung. Double hungs usually is not as good as the casements. That's why I like to go with casements. Pretty much in all of my projects, because it has a better energy savings than double hung. The double hung tends to leak still, and even no matter how good they are, it's not as good as casements. But I mean, if you want me to change them, I'll change them. But again, it's not greener.
I'm not asking you to change it.
Alternative.
It's your design, okay. And then my last question is, when you remove your driveway, the driveway will be coming out with the project, correct?
Yeah.
And you redo the driveway.
Yes.
I noticed that your person who's living in your home right now is parking in the front, like in the front door.
Yes.
And when you it's if you had a garage in the front of your house, perhaps, but your house has that angular driveway, which is probably was built to swerve between the large trees that used to be in the front yard. To the east, there was a large tree in that area also. So when you tear out the driveway and put your new driveway in, will you still have that pad that will allow the tenant or the new owner to, or whoever lives there, to park in the front yard?
I mean, it's probably a turnaround space.
I'm just asking you.
Yeah,
So,
I think.
because you're going to have a larger area in the back to turn around now, correct?
Right.
So you won't have to have the large pad in the front.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can make it
I
whatever.
mean, I see it here in the design.
Yeah, it looks like, it's
you're-
probably like a serpentine thing there, right there, right? Like a little turn.
Well, not in the front. The front should be, right now it's quite large. the
Right,
asphalt. But when you redo it, since you'll be removing that,
Right,
the new driveway is going to be much narrower.
yeah, right, that's correct.
And there won't be a place to park your car in the front.
No, you're not supposed to.
right.
Well, anyways, in San Marino, you can't
Right,
really
you're-
park your car.
Okay, but right now there is
There
a
is,
situation
right.
where there's parking in the front. Okay.
Well, the landscape in the front will totally change to make it look nicer. Right now, it's just asphalt, basically.
Okay.
It's gonna be designed with borders and everything.
Okay, thank you. And are you going to be removing that existing picket fence that lines both your properties and the pilasters that are from the original or from left over from the prior occupant?
I wanted to because they were also rotting out, but the neighbor did not want me to remove it.
But I think they're yours, aren't they? But when you finish your project, are you going to leave those two there?
Oh, well, I didn't want to make my neighbors more upset, and I said, okay, if you want to leave it, that doesn't really affect me that part.
Okay.
And they wanted to
Okay.
keep it,
Okay,
and
got
even
it.
though they are on my
Okay,
property.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. No, if there's no further questions, we will move on to public comment. Is there anyone here who would like to make a public comment, or anyone on the call?
There is no one on the, oh wait, someone popped up.
Yes, hi, hello. How are you, everybody? This is Rebecca Chen. I'm living 1406 Wilson Avenue. I'm the neighbor with the 1408. Yeah, I think I have some question to ask the 1408 owner.
Yes.
Can I please let my son, he can help me? Yes, please.
Just go ahead.
Hi, it's my pleasure to speak with all of you. My name is Brandon. I also live at 1406. And I just first wanted to express a few things that I think were brought up during the course of Mr. Dewey's comments. Also, I think some misconceptions which are shared during Mr. Dewey's comments. And then also, I'd just like to begin with saying thank you all for being here today. And there are just a few matters of importance that I think ought to be discussed. And the first one is the letter. So the letter has been amended. First, the original letter in 2020 was changed after the DRC denied the permit, and then in 2021, in November, less than a year ago, a new letter was sent. In terms of the newest plans which Mr. Dewey is proposing, those we have not received by mail. And I think the other important thing here to note is that at the last DRC meeting, Chair Lakon asked Mr. Dewey to consult with both us here at 1406, 1404, also the neighbors on the other side, that we use at 1410 over the over the time that he's working on the project so that the neighbors can reach an amiable agreement. And Mr. Gooey has failed to do that. He has not reached out to us at all. And the reason that he's citing is that my dad was being hostile to him. But this is not true, because I was there for the phone call. The phone call in which Mr. Gooey discussed the fence was one in which we expressed our desire to leave the current fence, just to have a marking of the property line. And also to the fact that we are not opposed to, I think it's preposterous to suggest that we are opposed to removing any brush or, other unsightly things in the course of the fence. So we are not opposed to any of that. The discussion over the fence was a peaceful one that was concerning the height of the fence, the material that was used to build the fence, whether the fence would change the property line, and if so, by how much and in what direction, and the agreement that was agreed upon by the parties was to remain, to allow the fence to remain, and Mr. Gooey was going to construct the fence on his own property. And then I think that there are also remaining concerns about the current plans which Mr. Gooey has brought up, knowledge of which we found out through the City of San Marino's website. So like I mentioned, there has been no input asked of us in order for this to be kind of a more constructive process. And so the construction in the back, I think we tend to concur with 1410 sentiments that the covered patio can be used virtually to the same extent these new construction is doing, that the new construction poses a threat to the natural light and to the surroundings, both for us and for 1410, which is on the other side. The other thing that I think is of great importance is about the oak tree. And the oak tree sits very close to the proposed area of construction, the parameters in which construction is planned to take effect. And so I reviewed independently the arborist report that Mr. Gooey has cited in his online in the plans which he has submitted to the City of San Marino, and it seems that the arborist has not conducted any physical work on the property. There was a member of the committee who mentioned there was not any digging or any grading, and then in terms of the tree preservation, quote unquote, that Mr. Gooey is going to engage, nobody has received any details about what this tree preservation is going to entail. And so I think that if anything, it puts the health of the tree and other surrounding natural items in the area, which I'm just sitting next to, at immediate and grave risk. And then there's another thing that we wanted to mention, which is the fact that that there is also concern about the integrity of the original home, which is about the engineer of the solid redwood of the home is now being replaced with a less desirable version of cedar wood. And then the other thing is that I can also confirm the fact that the person who's parking here is using the front and using the street, who has multiple vehicles. And since Mr. Gooey has never resided at the property, and so they think the driveway is also an important matter of consideration for us to discuss today. But and finally, the quote-unquote dead tree that Mr. Gooey is referring to had been alive before the period of time that he's mentioning, and so there's a large variety of oak trees here that this arborist whose services he's hired has not worked on or has not physically worked. I'm not even sure if the arborist has come to the property before in order to see what exactly is going on here. And once again, just like to reiterate the fact that the letter is updated as of the report of November 2021, which once again was less than 1 year ago, and the fact that in Mr. Gooey's creation of this new plan through his architect, he has not consulted with us at all, and the fact that we are trying, that we'd be more than open to communicate with him, should he desire to reach out. But in terms of the fence, there is no hostility between us in regard to the fence. We are more than supportive of him having the right to build his own fence, should he desire, on his side of the property. And yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other comments?
Yes, Chair, we have another public speaker online.
Go ahead. Your name and your address. I believe you're muted.
Hi, am I speaking with the commission?
Yes, go ahead. Your name and your address.
Hi, this is Shirley Jagels, 1404 Wilson Avenue. speaking to you from Guadalajara and thanking you very much for your service and all the work that you're doing for the community. And I just wanted to bring up a few things because I was remiss in not communicating with you before now, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak briefly. I wanted to give you a little bit of history of the home. The original owner was an engineer named Andrew Campbell, who hand-built this house and used the very best materials. Usually when it's built by an owner-builder, it's of a higher quality. Being an engineer, even more so. He was a lifelong resident of San Marino who grew up on Wilson Avenue, and we were sorry to have that he passed away a few years ago. There's a lot of history in his family. He dated Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. He was the founder of the Dad's Band that served the community every 4th of July. His mother was also the first woman to get a Bachelor of Science degree in the Bay Area, either at Berkeley or Stanford. She was a very well-known landscape architect who actually did a beautiful garden in the backyard at 1408, which was subsequently dismantled after his passing. As far as the original floors in the house, it's sad to see these things happen, but I realize there are owner's rights. But to my mind, the original floors and every part of the house, and the windows especially, are irreplaceable and should remain. I would like to see an environmental impact report on this project. The kitchen was just remodeled, and this community has had to bear the inconvenience, the noise, and the disturbance of our peace by having the kitchen remodeled just 2 years ago. So, I mean, I think there are creative ways to make this house more functional, but I don't think we need to disturb the footprint. Certainly the paving in the back should not be altered or be replaced with anything impervious because of that beautiful specimen oak tree. And the aromatic cedar in the front towards the west side of the driveway has been a beautiful tree for the neighborhood, and it has been neglected by Dr. Gouy or Mr. Gouy and his associates since he purchased the house, and it's unfair to the community. So that's all I have to say, but thank you very much. I know you will take in all of the comments by the neighbors and do your best to come to the best conclusion. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment?
1 second, let me check my email. While I'm doing that, sir, you walked in, were you here for the roofing?
Yeah,
For the materials?
right.
Okay, we did close our public hearing section at the beginning of the meeting. You're welcome to stay for the rest of it. But,
Well, there'll be traffic trying to get down here from North Hollywood. That's why I'm late.
okay, it's just we won't have the opportunity for you to talk on an item that's not on the agenda for the rest of the meeting. You're welcome to stay though.
Well, it don't do no good. I mean, I bought samples and stuff. I can leave there if you want to look at them.
You can leave it with us staff and then we can bring it up at another meeting.
Yeah, 'cause next Wednesday you're supposed to have one.
Yes. And I did not receive any more emails or other communications.
Okay. I will close the public comments portion and move on to committee member, or should I?
So the applicant has the right to rebut the comments that the other members of the public made.
Excuse me, where's the staff? I can leave.
Excuse me, sir.
Sorry.
Would you like to make any comments based on the comments you've heard?
I mean, if I were to, if they would allow me to remove the bushes and the fencing, I would have done it. So if they didn't, I don't know why he would say he would let us take out the bushes and the fencing, but the fencing's done. I mean, I'm not gonna argue about the fencing anymore. I mean, and the garage is removed, so we've done that. The arborist is a professional arborist. I mean, he's been to the site personally with me 3 or 4 times, and by himself multiple times to remove the trees. We're not taking out any trees. He has a license. He's been doing he's been an arborist for I don't know how long,
Okay, thank
30
you.
years or so.
Thank you. Anything else? I'm going to go ahead and,
Are you done rebutting, Dr. Gui?
I mean, I don't know what else to say with the arborist. I mean, he was here the last meeting, wanting to answer any questions, but nobody was here to do that. I mean, I invited him the last time, but I didn't think I needed an arborist to be here to explain the tree report this time. And so, but he came the last time, and nobody had questions for him.
go ahead.
Just one quick remark. You have no issue working with the arborist to have a preservation plan?
He has one already in the.
But you have to implement it. Meaning
Yeah, of
that-
course. Yeah, of course.
Right.
We're not
I
gonna,
just want to make sure that no trees.
Yeah, I mean, every time I remove any trees, if I have another project on Bradbury and we did, he came over there and he evaluated all the trees, and I wanted to remove those trees, and he told me which ones I can remove, which ones I can't. And so basically, that's what the arborist does. And he tells me how to protect the trees, and we'll do that. Because the inspector will come to make sure it's done.
Okay, because I do see his report, he has recommendations for
Yeah.
a tree protection plan, but that, he's not stating that the trees are going to do well. It's just the best, to me, it sounds like it's kind of the best chance to preserve the trees.
Yes, of course, it's the best chance to preserve the trees. I mean, the tree that they're referring to is not close to where we're building the addition.
Anyone else have any? You're going to be finished with your rebuttal? And I can close this portion and move on to committee member discussion.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I will start with committee member Pritchett.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I think it's unfortunate that this project has been made difficult because the disagreement, the inability for the neighbors to work out with the applicant. We've heard plenty of, we had the presentation from the applicant tonight. We also heard from the neighbors, especially the adjacent immediate neighbor comments. But I think that since there's this long history of disagreement, and I think it's going to be really hard for them to really come to any kind of meaningful agreement. So for me, the most important thing is to kind of just go back to be as objective as possible, to look at what's being presented to according to our guideline. So the applicant has, I think, made progress, made effort, for example, to reduce the size of the garage and made all the other adjustments, changes to the front based on previous comments. I know there's always this issue of massing, but I think I would echo the staff's finding here that I think the project is compatible, and I think if you we've all visited the job site quite a few times, and I again looking over, pulled out Google Maps and plus my personal visits, trying to see if the massing is compatible, and I think it is. All the two houses next to this project, they all have bigger homes. So I think the inherited neighbor conflict is not helping this project moving forward. So again, I would just like to look at what's in front of us as objective as possible. So I think my only question would be if we have enough support for the project, do we need to have any additional conditions? For me, I would like to see the small window, that one small window next to the chimney go away. I really don't think it needs to be there. The architecturally, I think that's just doesn't seem to flow well with the rest of the home. I'm referring to the one next to the chimney. If you look at the elevation, it's on the right-hand side of the chimney. And I know that other committee member had brought up, well, the chair had asked a question about double hung or basement. I don't know if maybe we want to make that a condition or not. Other than that, that's my kind of summary so far. Thank you.
Great. Committee member Chen.
Thank you. We like to see neighbors live in harmony. We like to see they help each other, respect each other, and love each other. But it's not the job of this committee. We try to encourage that. I still like to see the applicant and the neighbors, based on what I heard, is that they are willing to work together, and if you can, by not maintaining it just because you don't like each other, it's not going to help the city in the overall situation. So if you can reach out to your neighbors and try to make it work and try to do what is right in life, and that's how we got this good community and this beautiful community. Now, back to the project, I tried to look at the project objectively, seeing what's in front of us versus what's out there now, and in the long run, is that going to be some improvement for the community as a whole? I believe so. I think the project has been going on for about 2 years now, and it's time to finish that. So I asked about the duration of the construction. I'm concerned about the neighbors have to live through it. The dust, the noise, the demolition, the repaving of the driveway, and all of that. But sometimes it takes all of that to get to a beautiful project and a beautiful community. So with that said, I can support the project. I like to see that happen. I like to see the neighbors work together and try to make it even nicer. Whether there's an additional condition on that window or not, if there's something that the rest of the members would move forward with that, I would go along with that, because I think that window looks a little odd because of the fact that it's right next to two windows side by side with a shutter. And so architecturally, it might look better without that one window, but it's not going to kill the project. So that's my position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alternative member Torgerson.
Oh, Tony Chow. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
Alternate member Torgerson. Go ahead.
Okay, so I am a little bit at a disadvantage because being new to the committee, this is the first time I've seen this project. It's been going on for quite a while. So I'm going to try to stick to what I see in front of me. The objections that were raised in 2021 seem to have been addressed, and the most recent objections or directions also, except for the eliminate one or both windows next to the chimney. And I'm in agreement with committee members Chow and Chang that the project looks like, it appears that it would be an asset in the community. As far as the windows next to the chimney, I don't have any problem with them. I think they balance out. I don't think taking one out makes any sense. You either have to keep both of them or take all of them out. And removing the shutter maybe is a good idea. The only comment that I would make that really isn't on the agenda is that cedar tree in front is definitely difficult. This design will be not shown off to its maximum if they don't do something about carefully trimming that cedar tree in the front. But I would support the project if I were given a vote.
Great, thank you very much. Committee Member Tony Chow.
Yeah, so again, with what same as everyone was saying, it's tough to hear all the emotions and the uncomfortable experiences between the property owner and the neighbors. But again, like everyone said, taking a step back, if I look at our scope and our job and our role here as the Design Review Commission, my perspective of what we're looking at is, right, what we mentioned earlier, the proposed first floor additions of about under 300 square foot, which I actually don't think is a big impact on the aesthetics or design. And I think the landscape's going to be a big added value to what's existing there. I can agree with my fellow commissioners on the window, conditioning or not. And I do think it's imperative to condition this if we do move to approve with the tree protection plan and any other tree protection conditions that may have been left out in the arborist report that the commissioners see. But just looking at our scope, I mean, what we're looking at now, we're taking out the garage is really that first floor addition and the back patio and some removal of pavement in the front. So looking at it from that objective basis, I'd support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair McKay.
Thank you. I'm concerned about the disputed facts, the disputed issues of fact between what the owner has presented and the neighbors. So I have a question for staff, and I don't know if we can reopen that for a second. Okay. Did the neighbors in the legal neighborhood, and especially the next door neighbors on both sides, receive proper notice of tonight's hearing of the plans? Because that's, I'm hearing they did not. And I don't know if we can, can we properly proceed if they did not?
Yes, so we, any addition that that includes additional square footage requires a 10-day notice, which we did for this hearing today. And then as far as the neighbors receiving the notices, we did send them all out. They did comment on the neighborhood, or they did not. The applicant twice was not able to reach them for the neighborhood input letters. And as far as the new plans, the applicant is not required to show the neighbors new plans every time there's a new meeting, unless the DRC asks them to or require them to as part of the next hearing. As that was not asked of them at the last meeting, it's not a requirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and really
So,
quickly.
Going forward, we need to state that in our, I've never heard that before.
So moving, but also when Associate Planner Martinez mentioned that notices were mailed out, that comes from staff. Staff is the one responsible for that.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I do feel this is an aberration. It is not what we usually see come before us. We live in a community where neighborly relations are of paramount importance. I mean, that's something that San Marino prides itself on, so I'm not pleased to see it, and I wish there was, some way forward that there can be more congeniality and more cooperation and less flippancy about, these neighborly relations. It's just not, it doesn't seem conducive. It doesn't seem in keeping with what this committee usually sees and I think what our community would like to see. I appreciate the comments from the neighbors, the sense of history and appreciation for the neighborhood and the property. So I I just want to note that for the record. I appreciate the time they took to come and speak with us. I can only support this tonight with conditions. If my fellow committee members have specific conditions, for example, the windows, anything relating to the trees, I am concerned about these trees. I know we have an arborist report, but if there's anything additional, I would like to hear from my fellow committee members that would give us some more security about this. I would support any and all such conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. And I agree with my committee members partially. I still do not find the house to be compatible with itself. Primarily the windows. I would like to see them double hung, and I still find the house to the massing not to be compatible with itself. But what I'm really concerned now is when the neighbors appeared tonight and took their time out, and to hear that they haven't been approached, and just the animosity between the neighbors, and they've been living like this for a couple of years now. And I passed the house, I've seen the trees dying, I've seen the cars in the front yard, I've seen the garbage cans in the front yard, and there's even, every time I go to the property for something, there's a beehive that's been growing in that bush right in the front when you enter the property. And you can hear it humming, and it looks, there's just such a lack of maintenance. I can see where it's frustrating, because you really want to build confidence in the neighborhood. So when you go to do the project, you want the neighbors to be excited to have an improvement going on in their neighborhood, because that's what we really all appreciate, and it helps everybody. So hopefully when, whatever happens tonight, that when your contractor works with them, that he will take the time to get to know them and to be considerate, and your hours will be considerate, and your lot will stay maintained during construction, and things like that. Hours of construction, all those things that we do to be considerate neighbors. So the trees, I think the oak trees between the two properties, the family, the son who spoke, talked about the trees too. I don't know how those trees between your properties are going to survive the construction personally. I don't think, I've seen two properties, one in my neighborhood and one on Sierra Madre, where they did construction close enough to an oak tree, but not that close, and over the next year they died. I watched them die. So I think that would be very tragic in this case, to have the trees between those two homes not be there anymore, because it will look like two massive houses next to each other. That particular portion of the street doesn't have sidewalks. It's a little more rural. It's very woodsy. You have beautiful pine trees. You have beautiful oak trees. So you really want to make sure those trees are maintained. It will really impact the streetscape there. So tonight I would not be able to support it, but I understand that everybody is, sounds like we have the majority could support it this evening. So I would like to see, let's have some discussion and come up with conditions or any more thoughts going forward. Does anyone want to say anything? Or make any comments?
So my question is, if I make a motion to approve the project, I'd like to know if any conditions we would like to add. I'm okay with not adding, hearing all the comments. Personally, for me, I had the question about removing that one window next to the chimney, but I don't think if I make a motion, I don't think I will add that as a condition. I think it's okay. My question is that do we have any other conditions, for example, double hung windows or anything else we'd like to add?
Yeah, I think the part that really concerns me the most are the tree preservation and cooperation with the neighbors, and the project during construction to be successful. I think by not doing the project, the way that the driveway is, kind of lend itself, encouraging people to park in the front, double park, triple park, creating trash, is not going to help. If you look at the new landscape plan, both hardscape and softscape, the condition is to make sure the developer or the owner will follow to the teeth of all these plans on both hardscape and landscape, softscape, and the arborist report on preservation to the teeth. That means they have to protect everything, get the project done, not destroy anything, and then work with the neighbors and try to do it quickly and get it done within that 1 year they're talking about. And hopefully we can get it done, the exterior within 3 to 4 months, and then keep the interior work quieter inside. That would be, it's already, I don't think we need to do an additional condition, but I think we can mention that on the record that they need to do that. That window, I agree with our one of our alternate member about maybe removing the shutter and then keep the windows in. The applicant does like to have a balanced window on both sides internally where the bookcases are, and that may help them. That shutter, I have no problem with that. So if we remove that, it may help a little bit. Other than that, either way I can go along. I'm not going to do or die on this situation. So I can go along. But whether we're going to want to change it all to double one or keep the window, I think either one will work with this project architecturally. I don't want, because once you change that, I don't know how that's going to work throughout. Is it the entire project, or I think we already seen the many generations of it, and I can go along with what's in front of us.
So just very quickly a follow up, and so yes, I'm okay with the case window as well as presented, and I don't think that if we are not going to remove that window, I would just my take is that we should just keep everything as is. Don't remove the shutters and all that, because if we remove one or do we remove two, I think this is just fine. Then back to committee member Chan's comment. So we're not really going to make any condition. If we're not going to make any condition, so how do we address the
preservation plan?
Preservation. We just say what? To reinforce it?
Yes, I think staff may be able to help us. Can staff help us during construction and have maybe periodic inspections?
They have recommendations on the tree protection. That's what his report is. It is a tree protection report. And so they list all the recommendations.
Right.
So,
I just want to make sure that they follow that
right.
recommendation. All we got is a good report. If they don't follow it, we'll lose it. So maybe one of the conditions is to make sure that the developer will follow the preservation plan strictly. And maybe if planning staff can go there once every one month.
Well, what I would recommend, instead of planning staff going there, is that the city's urban forester go there.
I was thinking.
So, I would incorporate the preservation plan as part of the condition.
Perfect.
With the oversight of the city's urban forester.
Perfect. That would be good. If that would work, I think that I would feel more comfortable. So code enforcement.
Anyone else?
Urban forester.
Okay. Is there anyone who's prepared to make a motion?
I think that's correct. He's talking.
I'll try to make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve DR 21-25 and DR 21-73 with one condition. That is, the tree preservation plan will be strictly enforced with the supervision of the city's urban forester.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Roll call?
Just for the minute clarification, the motion was made by Committee Member Chow and seconded by Committee Member Chang. As for roll call, Chair Lakon,
No?
Vice Chair McKay,
No.
Committee Member Chow,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
and alternate Committee Member Tony Chow.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 3-2.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank, can I thank everyone for participating this evening?
Yes, and any members who spoke on behalf of the project have the ability to appeal within 15 days of tonight's meeting.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 2. Design review case DR 22-36, 840 Winthrop Road. Ms. Martinez, can you have the staff report, please?
Yes, I'm sorry, just bring something up. Sorry, my computer was crashing. For item number 2, for design review 22-36, 840 Winthrop Road, this item was last heard before the September 21st Design Review Committee just last month. The Design Review Committee asked that the applicant change the following. To detail how the brick replacement will match the existing brick found on the home, which is shown in detail on sheet DRC 11, and I also, in front of Chair Lakon, is a material board that anybody can view, which also has a sample. A second item was to provide a detailed rendering of the proposed front door with side lights and closet, preferably from 2 angles, which is shown on the plans and also shown as attachment number 9 of the staff report. To provide a color and material board, which is shown before you, and also more details are shown on page 11 of the plans. To show how the location of the front door and side lights will be centered in the same location as the previous bay window, and that's illustrated on the elevation page, which is page number 4. To detail any new lighting and hardware located in the front entrance, that is also shown on the material board and also shown on page 11. To detail the color and finish of the proposed door and side lights, same thing also on page 11. To detail the head jamb and steel, that's shown through pages 5 through 10. It has a variety of different references of architectural detail. To remove any inconsistent proposals on the landscape plan, specifically removing the old landscape plan included a side gate, which has since been removed. And to provide a more conceptual landscape plan. Some adjustments were made to the previously submitted landscape plan and have been updated as part of this revised plan set. Other than that, I don't have any other objection letters or anything of that sort. I'm able to answer any questions, and the applicant is also available.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for staff? No questions. Would the applicant like to present the project again?
My name is Alan Kalisher, 2632 Rainier Avenue, Los Angeles. I'm the architect. Basically, it's supplemental information that was requested by the committee, and we tried to show how we're incorporating the new elements on the front elevation so that it remains consistent with what is there. The bricks that are shown, the cut bricks that are shown on the materials board, 2 of the bricks are existing and 2 are new. So there's no marked difference between. We have a very good mason that is working with us to ensure that where we take the bricks out and replace them with new, where we can't replace with existing, that it's done in the best possible manner with the best craftsmanship. The house is 90 years old and the mortar is stronger than the brick. So there's a lot of breakage when we're taking the brick off to prepare for the new windows and ensure proper waterproofing. So the mason and I developed the program that I detailed on sheet DRC 11. And you can see the steps along the top of how we're cutting away the opening and then doing some finer demolition as we prep the opening for the new unit, and then interleaving the new and salvage bricks, the ones that we put into a new finished opening. And I'm willing to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
Just one quick question. Any of this opening require reinforcements, steel going back in before you put that brick back, or how is that working out?
There's a steel lintel over the existing windows.
And you were able to, you should be able to get them in structurally and then get the brick back
That's correct.
per that detail.
Yes.
And do you have to cut this brick down to a thinner piece?
No.
The veneer?
No, they're full brick. There's a 1-inch airspace between the sheathing that's on the house, which is actually one by sheathing. It's not thin plywood, and then it's full brick. It's full dimensional brick. So.
You will be kind of working with the mason throughout this project too?
Yes, I've spent quite a bit of time with him. I've worked with him on other projects too, so we developed this program together.
Okay. I just want to make sure that happens. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chairman,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, okay. I don't have benefit of seeing the color and material board, so I have a question about the color of the windows that are going in. They're white right now, so I know they're going to be painted. Is that expressed on the material board, the color of the material board?
Yes, it is. The whole material board itself is the paint color for the windows. The white windows are that's the primer. The previous windows were a Santa Fe, like a blue, a very bright blue. So that's not in keeping with the Spanish colonial nature of the house. So we had we had called out a dark brown as the trim color, and so we've kept with that. It's a darker brown to match the hardware finish that's going on the house.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. I'm going to move the color board. Is it heavy? Oh.
Slightly.
Is it slightly heavy, so should we go to it? Or?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's just heavier than most.
So I have a question for the applicant.
It's going to slide off now.
So Chair, I have a question.
Go
for
ahead.
you. Thank you. So when I visited the job site again today, some of the toothed out bricks from previously now they're filled in. So you can see there's some color, mismatching. But I'm sure that's, something you're gonna take care of. But can you just explain a little bit how the matching will be done?
Yeah, well, the existing brick on the house has dirtied over time. So the house will get power washed, and then basically a whitewash over the brick to bring it back to the same level of color across the new parts and existing parts.
Thank you.
It's our objective to make it as like we were never there, like we didn't touch it. So we won't leave it in a state that's unspeculative.
We're passing the color board around, the materials board, for those of you on the Zoom.
Is there a camera so that the other vendors could somehow come closer to it? Can we zoom into it or something? There we go. Is that helpful at all?
I think we got it. Thank you.
Fancy.
Anyone else have any questions for the applicant? No questions? I think, do we have anyone here for public comment?
No one on Zoom. Let me check my email. And no one through email.
Okay, so I will close the public comment portion and we will move to committee member discussion. Committee member Chan.
Thank you. Yeah, you can see that there's a lot of effort put into restoring this beautiful home. So, and I appreciate the architect's commitment to work with the mason to work out those details. I think all those extra work is needed for this project, and it would only happen if somebody has the passion to make sure that it works at the end. Because you can have the same, no matter how you do it on the plan, it's not going to come out the way you may want to see it. Somebody has to be out there working with them and pick the right piece and make sure the detail works. So I appreciate all of that, and it's time to put it back together. So I would support the project to get it finished.
Thank you, committee member Tony. This time we will have, should I have said this earlier, we'll have Suzanne be a voting,
Sure.
be a voting member.
I'm a voting member.
Who did I ask the question? Did I ask that to?
Yes, committee member Batnige is absent today, so committee member Tregerson, you will be able to be a voting member for this project tonight.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm taking Tony's place. All right. So,
We're alternating.
all right. So,
Are you prepared for that this evening?
I think this project looks very handsome, and they've responded to all of our conditions to my satisfaction. And this is an aside. I noticed that in the plans, and they mentioned this the first time around, that they are going to put drapes inside those side lights to disguise whatever equipment might be inside. And I would hope that their designer would rethink the drape idea and maybe do something else, Roman shades or something, but drapes just doesn't seem like a very good choice. But that has nothing to do with my support for the project, which I do support.
Great, thank you. Alternate member Tony Chow.
Yeah, I really, I want to say to the applicant, I really appreciate them coming along with the process. You know, we did have a few things to address last time, and I think it's come back itemized one by one addressed, and you know, it really shows the attention to detail, the care for this project, and I think it will show in the finished product as well. So, really, really appreciative of the applicant writing this process with us, and I can support this. I think it'll be a great rehab, pretty much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair McKay.
Thank you. I mentioned, and this is an aside as well, but I did mention it at the last hearing on this project, and I do want to mention it again, that when I visited the project initially, I was approached by some neighbors who expressed a lot of support for the project, in contrast to other projects we've had recently. So I appreciated that very much, and I appreciate the thought and care and effort that has been put into this, as well as the patience of the applicant and the applicant's representative in terms of all of the elements that we had asked them to consider. I know there was some frustration perhaps at first about it, but I think it is, as my fellow committee member mentioned, a very handsome project, so I could support this tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you, and I concur. I also could support this project as it's presented. I think that it's a great improvement, and the attention to detail is really, really lovely, and it's going to be a nice improvement to the neighborhood, and I could support it as is. So, thank you. Committee member Chow.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, once again, I basically just echo all the comments previously we heard tonight from the community members. And I think it was definitely evident even in the last meeting that this project has been very thoughtfully planned out by the applicants. And thank you for providing the update, additional information, for example, the color renderings to give us a good sense of the finished look. So with that, I can also support the project.
Great, do we have a motion? Or should I say, we'll seem to support the project this evening, so that being said, are you prepared to make a motion?
Yes, I can go ahead and give it a try. I move to approve design review case number DR 22-36 per staff report and for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, so the motion was made by Committee Member Committee Member Chang, and then seconded by Vice Chair McKay. For roll call, Chair Laycon,
Yes.
Vice Chair McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Chow,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
and alternate Committee Member Torgerson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And we will move to item number 3. That is item number 3, design review case DRC 22-51, 2126 Roanoke. Can you present the case? Staff report?
The applicant is proposing to remove the existing composition shingle roof and install CertainTeed Presidential Shake TL composition shingle roofing material in the shadow gray color. The roof material and the color are not listed on the city's pre-approved roof material colors and application list, and therefore subject to the design review. Staff has discussed with the property owner of the option of installing the CertainTeed Presidential Shake composition shingle in the shadow gray color. The material itself, the Presidential Shake, is included in the list of pre-approved roof material list and would require the community development director's approval for the color of the shadow gray, which is not listed on the pre-approved list. However, the property owner preferred to gain the approval of the DRC to install the presidential TL with the shadow gray color, as the presidential TL is of a higher quality material. In the case that the DRC approves the CertainTeed Presidential TL in the shadow gray color, the property residence will be painted to match the color of the new roof. The subject property is identified on the Citywide Historic Resources Survey Report as a district contributor to a potential future Sherwood Road, San Marino Avenue Residential Historic District. The house is an American colonial revival home built in 1936, and according to the report, there were past alterations including window replacement, secondary facade, and garage door replacement, and no mention of a roof change. For the record, I would like to note that there was changes to the staff report. Under the neighborhood compatibility, it listed the following addresses: 2345, 2335, 2280, and 2125 Roanoke Road as a legal neighborhood that had composition shingles. I would like to make the changes, noting the mistake that these are not within the legal neighborhood, aside from the 2125 Roanoke Road. 2345, 2335, and 2280 Roanoke Road are not within the legal neighborhood. There are adjacent block residences that have composition shingles. 2125 does not have a composition shingle, they have a wood shake. However, 2151 Roanoke Road, which is also not in the legal neighborhood, however, it is on the Roanoke Road, an adjacent block that has been approved for the same material of the Presidential TL with the same color shadow gray that is being proposed tonight in the DRC hearing that took place on June 17, 2021. Staff recommends approval for the proposal for CertainTeed Presidential Shake TL composition shingle roofing material in the shadow gray color, as it meets the necessary findings. That concludes the staff report. Staff is available to answer any questions, and the property owner is also available to in attendance tonight to answer the questions. Thank you.
Any questions for staff? Go ahead, Vice Chair McKay, did you have a question?
I had raised a concern with staff about the issue of the legal neighborhood being, so it's been corrected, and thank you.
Any other questions? Can you tell me, we're seeing this tonight because, so they have a compass shingle already.
Yes.
So they could put on a presidential certainty.
Yes.
STL
Yes.
tomorrow without any DRC hearing.
Yes, they would have to get a staff approval. However, the color that they're proposing is not on the list and would require the director to review it for approval.
So they're not allowed to upgrade to the TL without coming to, because of the technicality.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions? Would the applicant like to present the case?
I think you said it.
Your name and your address.
I'm sorry?
Your name and your address?
Hi, Shep Farquhar, 2126 Roanoke Road. I think you said it kind of perfectly at the end. I was okay to do the thinner. I just want to do the more expensive, nicer looking, thicker TL. That's it.
Thank you. Did you happen to look at any other material on the pre-approved list already?
Yes,
And
I did not like it. I mean, it is on the list, just the color is not on the list.
go ahead.
Did you consider wood shake?
I'm not even, I mean, I don't know what they are called, but I've seen all the ones that I can do for this home, and this is the one that is like the one that is on there, that has the least amount of issues, and that I like the most.
The wood shake is the more of a natural look that your neighbors have on Roanoke. This
Their
is
houses
not,
aren't
it's
similar.
not, it wouldn't be composite. I do appreciate why you're here, I do. And so I do appreciate that, but there actually aren't these roofs in the legal neighborhood.
There's this exact roof across the street from me.
Just-
I'm not sure what the legal neighborhood is, so I apologize for that, but right across the street, 2 houses down is this exact roof.
But most of the houses on the block have wood shake, and so I was just wondering if you've considered that very traditional look for your beautiful, beautiful home of going with the wood shake and not, yeah.
Okay,
the
so I'm
natural-
clear, are you talking about the houses that sit next to mine? Are those the houses you're speaking of?
Well, I'm very familiar with your block.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know people who live on that block, so most of the traditional homes have the wood shake.
Well, you explained the legal neighborhood it's actually boundaries that are set up in our design guidelines.
Yeah, and I'm not-
There are 2 houses to your right, 2 houses to your left.
Okay.
And then straight across from those properties, so that the home that you're speaking about, that talking about, the one with the shadow gray, presidential TL that was put on a year ago maybe,
Yeah.
that is not in the legal neighborhood.
Okay.
It's close, but it's not in the legal neighborhood, so that's what we were looking for compatibility, is in the legal neighborhood. And then the properties that would be behind those homes. Pretty much the 2 houses behind you, and then one on each side. So
The houses next to mine
Well, you
don't
have-
look like my home. I understand that the roofs are like that, but they're very steep pitched. Mine is not a steep pitched home. Mine is,
It's still a visible roof, though. It's still quite visible roof.
yeah.
I would argue.
I'm just saying my neighbors are very steep pitched roofs.
Right. So
So my question was simply, you were looking at the materials, and I understand that, but did you consider, and we often ask
I
applicants.
considered all of the options, if that's what you're asking. I considered all of them. I looked at all of them.
Not the less expensive ones on the city approved list, but wood shake.
Well, I was under the impression that you need to stick with what's on there.
Well,
If I can provide clarification that you can't, she wouldn't be able to install natural wood shake unless the house already has it.
That's what I was told.
That's not my understanding. Did it
You-
change? Has it changed? Is that correct?
That-
It changed?
That's what the resolution states.
What was
The one that was approved for the materials, pre-approved materials list.
what? I mean, just recently?
That's how we
Yeah.
narrated it.
Does anybody have that
So
reference?
there's two items where wood shakes is not listed on our current pre-approved roofing material list. It used to be in the past. I've seen old versions of it. And the
You
one,
still put a roof on if you have a wood roof, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
You have
so
to-
if you-
You have to have an existing wood roof.
exactly.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Martinez, for that clarification. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for the applicant?
I just have,
Committee
if I
member
may,
Rocha?
go back to staff to clarify. I'm just looking at a photo here. Give me 1 second. On the same street, I think this is directly across the street, is 2125.
That's the
It's
only
right
one.
outside, it's outside the legal neighborhood.
Oh, it is outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is one
That was my question.
composition shingle that's two, like if you're looking at the property,
Okay.
two, the second one to the left.
Thank you.
It's just a very heavy wood shake and a very prominent roof lines in that neighborhood specifically. It's not a lot of Spanish or other materials, so it looks very, so, anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. Is anyone here to make public comment?
There's no one online and no one has emailed me. So, no.
I will close the public comment portion and move on to committee member discussion. And we'll start with committee member Chow.
Thank you, Chair. So I just want to backtrack a little bit, because I think I can support the project if what staff said is, I just want to confirm that since the current roof is a composite, is not natural wood shake, so they actually cannot do wood shake anyway, right?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay, so I think this material, the Certainty Presidential TL is a good material, so I can support. I also think the shadow gray is a good color for the style of the home. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Alternate member Turgeon.
Chair, real quickly, did you designate who will be a voting member?
I was telling myself. It'll be, voting member will be alternate member Tony Chow. I'll go back to that. Thank you very much. Alternate member Torgerson, go ahead.
Yes, I think I need a little education on what materials are allowed in the city of San Marino and also what staff clarified, which I have written down, which is very helpful to make these decisions quickly. I agree with committee member Chow, and I would approve the project.
Thank you very much. Committee member Tony Chow.
Yeah, nothing much to add. I think a composite shingle, for material for composite shingle, this is what we would recommend. Usually, if these cases came in front of us, it's nice that the applicant, can see the difference in quality and decided to go on the TL and to go through this process with us. So for a composite shingle, I think that's a good material, so I can support this.
Great, thank you. Committee member Chang.
Thank you. The current roofing is exactly what we looked at for many years on the thin layer asphalt shingle roof. You can see that aesthetically it just nowhere close to the quality of home that we're looking at. I appreciate the owner going through this process of trying to upgrade the tile to the triple layer so that we can see some definition on the roof line. And that's one. And it's the right choice, and I can definitely go along with that. Years ago, I remember the wood shake roof was taken out from the pre-approved list was because our own fire department came and presented to the planning commission and the DRC, telling us that the city should not continue to support the shake roof because of the fire rating is gone. I think that's the time that we took that away, not to leave it there. If it's not there, we should not consider putting it back on. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of good substitute for that. And I think that it will continue to be the challenge. We were hoping to see some better quality pre-approved material that we can work with. But we're still waiting for that day to arrive. And of course, COVID didn't help. 3 years without seeing the actual material didn't help us at all, the last 3 years. So that's some of the history, I guess. I can support the project, yes.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair McKay.
Thank you. You know, looking at the legal neighborhood, it just doesn't have the composition shingle. But I'm corrected and informed by staff, and I appreciate that clarification, and reminded of what the resolution or rules are that we are constrained by. And so constrained, I can support the project, and again, as my fellow committee members have said, appreciate very much that the applicant wants to put on a higher quality than she could, and so this will actually become an improvement. It concerns me that this will then become a precedent for other homes to say that in their legal neighborhood there is composition shingle, and I would hope that there could be some kind of note in the record that yes, there is a composition shingle on this property, and it is a new composition shingle, but it was because that was all it could be replaced with. So I can support it tonight with that comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I too agree with everyone, and I would like to add to Vice Chair McKay's comments, who I agree with, and I also, for the record, that this house has a roof line that isn't as prominent as the steep English titters that are very prominent in the neighborhood. And those are the kind of things that I would hate. I would like to see something much thicker. If those came before us and wanted to replace their roof, the comp shingle, when it starts to kind of snowball through the neighborhood, it tends to change the character of the neighborhood. And your neighborhood has potential historic district, but it's also very charming and has a distinct look that makes it a special neighborhood and a high value neighborhood. So that being said, I think that when you see a high quality roof shingle or one that looks like a roof shingle, it keeps the value high of the neighborhood and the character intact. This roof line isn't one of those that I'm specifically talking about. So for this house in this situation, I think it'll be an improvement, and I could support it. So.
Yay!
I'd like to make a motion.
Let me go give it a try. I move to approve design review case number PR 22-51 for staff reports approval.
Do we have to put the usual?
Add the conditions that are for.
With the added condition of the
From the pre-approved list.
from the pre-approved list.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. Yeah, so the installation is to comply.
I'm sorry, may I go? I need to give my kids dinner. You're good. Okay, thank you so much. I
No,
appreciate it.
we need to finish the motion. With the added condition that the condition for composition shingle roofing material listed on the city be approved list, be approved roofing list.
No. Motion by.
Yes. The roofing material, color, and application list shall be applied.
I second that.
Seconded by Committee Member Chow. Rick Chow?
Okay.
Roll call?
Chair Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Rick Chow,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
and Alternate Committee Member Tony Chow.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Great, thank you. And we move on to minutes. Approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any comments? Vice Chair McKay?
I would, is this just discussion?
Sure, if you would like to change the minutes.
Yes,
you can.
okay, so I believe that the minutes need to be amended. On item number 1, design review case number 2176, 1765 Southwest Riverwoods Avenue. Under persons providing comment, the only one that was listed is Raymond Ho, applicant and business owner, but in fact, Lavender from Sign Express did present comment, and she provided extensive comment. She responded to Committee Member Chang's question regarding dimensions, to Committee Member Chow's questions regarding color, and Chair Lacon's questions regarding materials. So that needs to be corrected and amended, please. I don't remember Lavender's last name. We started referring to her by first name.
I have her last
So
name on
if
the
we have
email.
the last name,
Yeah.
then that should be noted.
Yeah. She's with the sign company.
Sign Express.
Sign Express, correct. I didn't have her last name also. I have her on my phone list, but I know her.
So that amendment.
Yeah, she had worked with us before, many times, present here.
If that's it, would you like the minutes to be brought back before you to see the change, or would you just direct staff to make it and?
I'm comfortable directing staff to make
Okay.
changes requested today. Go ahead.
So can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I move.
Yeah.
Moved.
Go ahead. Just have to with the amendment.
Yes. I motion to approve the minute as amended.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Committee Member Chow and seconded by Committee Member Chang. Chair Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Chow,
Yes.
and Committee Member Chang.
Yes.
And I'm assuming maybe alternate Committee Member Torgeson's gonna vote?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yes, so then that's a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. And do we have a community development report?
Thank you, Chair.
Go ahead.
One, I want to inform you that the appeal to the DRC now of a re-roof for 1411 Circle Drive will be scheduled for the next Planning Commission next Wednesday, October 19th. So as usual, I will provide you with the status at the next DRC meeting on November 2nd. Speaking of the next meeting, November 2nd, you will have a combination of addition, signage, perhaps a re-roof. So again, that next meeting is November 2nd. And now we're getting into the holiday season, we do have scheduled 3 meetings, 2 in November, 1 in December. So I'll be talking to the chair and vice chair about an appetite about potentially having a 4th one, a special meeting in case we need it for some projects. But again, obviously members have vacation plans and so forth. So it's not definite yet. It all depends on if these projects are ready or not. But we do seem to be having a lot of success with getting applicants to submit the required documents to get projects moving forward now that we have help. So again, we'll discuss that. And being that we spoke about the pre-approved list, staff is going to take an item to the Planning Commission pretty soon, maybe next meeting or the meeting after that, to discuss the pre-approved list and changes potentially to be made. So that process will start, and so we'll get clarification in terms of what was acceptable in the past, perhaps bringing it back, when potential improvements can be made to the list. I know obviously there's one that's a favorite here that isn't on the list, so adding that one on there would be something that we'll be asking for. So that is coming forward, and again, it's not that they'll be approving it. There'll be more of discussion in terms of the process, what they like to see, also in terms of materials and samples from staff. So that'll be coming forward soon. I'll keep you informed of the progress on that end. And that concludes the director's report.
Thank you.
May I have a quick question? When is the scheduled meeting for November for this meeting?
We have one on November 2nd, that's the first meeting, and then the next one will be 14 days later, November 16th. So those are the two meetings in
November 2nd.
and November 16th.
November 2nd and 16th.
First and third.
Oh,
First and third Wednesday.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna miss it, but I'm good. I can make it.
And so,
my holiday is wrong. I just away for that 2 weeks, but it's good. I was worried.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
will adjourn the meeting. It is,
7:45.
7:45. We are adjourned. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Night.